Day Bubbleverse 11. Letters from boarding school. Private communication from Flicker of Faziripi. Currently resident on Earth, Sol 30. Diogo Saduk of Fazirip. Currently resident on Triton is Sol 8H. Reason for communication. Keeping in touch, because otherwise Mom will ill. Freak communication. Begins. Hi, Father. First off, how are you doing? I heard from Serena that the big brains out that way pulled off another cool stunt with hybrid tech. I hope nothing exploded this time. Mind you, the way I understand things, you learn lots of stuff when things explode, so... Blow stuff up, but stay safe, okay? 2 artificial tentacles says, my dad is badass, but 4 artificial tentacles would say, my dad is a klutz. Yeah, I learned that word off one of my friends. It's not to swear, honest. It just means someone who's always being clumsy. Anyway, a funny thing happened earlier. I was coming back to my room when I ran into Pogre. He's doing really well, by the way. There's a tabletop wargaming society. Lots of small-scale terrain and rolling dice. I think you would enjoy it. And he seems to be enjoying himself there. Or at least, he's less grumpy than normal. So there's that. He asked me where I was going, and I said I was coming here to write this letter. He didn't seem to really understand what I meant. Casual communication must not be a thing with the Tanner. Anyway, I explained as best I could that sometimes parents just want to hear from their kids that they're doing okay, not just keep it to when things are going wrong. Don't really know if I got through to him, but hey, you can only do what you can do. So anyway, private communication from Pograk of Tanara, currently resident on Earth, Sol 3D0. Tau. The of continued existence, communication, begins greetings to my progenitor, the equal above all. I trust that this communication finds you in good health, with no palace plots threatening your well-being. First, allow me to assure you that no harm has befallen your offspring. I continue to be healthy and unharmed, despite the hellish environment that crowds all around my habitat while I sleep. This is neither an after-action report nor a debriefing, for no significant events requiring either one have taken place since I was placed here upon Earth to attend a human-style education. I have remained alert to the possibility of earthquakes, or tsunamis, or hurricanes, but none of the expected catastrophic events have transpired yet. The human engineers who maintain my habitat have assured me that it would easily survive an earthquake or a hurricane. When I brought up the possibility of a tsunami, one of them explained that the ocean is 80 kilometers away. One of them. I did not see their point. Have you seen the images of some of these tsunamis? Perhaps humans can survive them better than we can, being so used to submerging themselves in dihydrogen monoxide. And that is why they are so careless about the possibility. But it is no use arguing with humans. I have found that they either make references that I do not understand or look at me in a way that means I have said something they do not understand. Oh, they laugh. Human laughter is strange and grating, as you have undoubtedly learned. Irrelevant human attitudes aside, I am writing this as a result of a conversation I had with Thwicka. She was perambulating toward her habitat in the middle of the day, and I asked her if she was suffering from an issue that required her to retreat to her normal environment. Her answer was puzzling. She intended to write a message to her progenitor, as some of her friends do, filled with everyday events, and so I have chosen to do the same, in the hopes that it will afford me some insights into human culture. Unfortunately, it does not appear to be doing so yet. Honangueka Tusaduk continued. So anyway, we had an amazing game of soccer last Saturday. Our team's been renamed the Bubblers. Thank the progenitors they didn't call themselves the Thwickas, I guess. And we kicked their butts up one side of the field and down the other. I only had to save something like 3 goals. But the other team complained, as usual, that we had an unfair advantage. That is, me. I have since programmed the sound of a raspberry, and I still don't know why they named it after the fruit, into my vocalizer. It's such a useful sound. The swim team wants me to join up as well, but I've had to slap my tentacle to the floor on that one, yet again. It's like I keep having to explain to them that I might be good in the pool. But when it comes to diving, I'm slightly less useful than a Tanorak heat gun on a warm summer day here on Earth. And high diving, as you say yourself, can just plain bite my upper left tentacle. It looks horribly dangerous, even for Earth. I'll keep doing it, swimming, not diving, as a hobby, but only that. There's a big chess tournament coming up soon, and I'm looking forward to it. So are the Bubbler Studies guys, apparently. They get more and more insights into how our neural webs operate each time they watch me playing chess. I guess for anyone else it would be weird having a bunch of guys staring at my tentacles and brain case instead of the board when I'm playing. But I've gotten used to it, all, and just for fun. I've planted a little garden next to my habitat. I've got my favorite flowers growing in it, but I rarely weed, except when they start choking out the flowers. As a human would put it, I don't have the heart to kill plants unless I have to. They're all precious and beautiful to me. In other news, to Bograk, to equal above all, continued unfortunately. It does not appear to be doing so yet, but I have happened upon another means of gaining much the same information. This was, in fact, due to Thwicka. As we have both observed, she is decidedly insane, even by Faziribi standards. But I do have to admit that she has chosen not to hold the previous behavior of our species against me. There are many human students who appear to hold her in some level of high regard, and she introduced me to them in a polite manner, and even rebuked them when they initially made fun of me. I must read again the definition of friend in the dictionary that was supplied to us. It's almost beginning to make sense to me now. These young humans have many games that they play between themselves. We will not speak of the submerging in molten lava. There is another game, played in an open field, where they run about with great speed and kick a ball to one another. Thwicka has confirmed her brain-heated nature by joining in such games. Not in moving about the field, for her motivation tentacles would not allow her the requisite speed, but in defending the home base or goal area for her team. She appears to be not totally inept at this sport, despite the horrific danger inherent in potentially overtaxing her heat suit. I was offered a chance to play the same game that she demonstrated to you upon the ship. It seems there is no shame to be had from your defeat at her tentacles here on Earth. She is seen as a formidable player for her age and regularly beats human opponents of recognized skill. However, I turned the offer down, as I did not wish to be seen as copying everything she did. She also appears to be cultivating some native species of plant in a patch next to her habitat, in a pattern I have trouble discerning. When I queried her as to the reasons for doing this, she said something about how she likes them. They can do nothing for her, so why does she favor them? I also declined her offer to create a similar patch next to mine, because I did not see the sense in it. This did not leave me without a pastime to follow. As I previously said, I have made the acquaintance of several human students who study what they call 8-tabletop war gaming. You can imagine my interest there, my progenitor. An opportunity to observe humans gaming out their battle strategies and to learn their weaknesses, should an opportunity ever arise to make use of it. Curiously enough, the Wargaming Society does not study space battles, but rather historic warfare, as has taken place on the surface of Earth. Nor does it make use of computer simulation, although they have the technology to do so. Instead, the students hand-make the simulated terrain and hand-paint individual soldiers for their armies. I watched such a simulated engagement, adjudicated by simple cubical random number dice, playing out a single battle in a single war covering 4 years, several centuries ago. And right then and there, I was taught the most important lesson I will ever learn in my time here, for I could not follow the strategy on either side. Moreover, the player starting with lesser numbers, sure to lose, or so I expect, somehow won out a desperate victory through unconventional maneuvering of his pieces. This is the lesson in short. Human strategy is a combination of brilliance and madness, and I am hard put to tell one from the other until all is said and done. Initially I thought I must be mistaken, for, as you know, I have been taught by the best available tutors in the art of warfare. But then I watched more games and was enthralled by the deep and unfolding layers of their planning. Upon gaining my own pieces and spending endless hours painting them to match the images that were supplied to me, I launched my own campaigns against the other players and found myself sorely wanting. In my defense, I have been told that I have talent, but I still have a way to go. I expect to win my first battle any day now. Of course, this presupposes that I survive Thwika's insanity. Thwika to Saduk, continued in other news. I finally got a chance to ask Sergeant Harris for the chance to do something I've been wanting to do since forever. You know those firearms they carry, where it actually ignites fire inside the weapon, and the explosion propels the bullet out of the barrel. I asked him if I could learn more about them, and maybe see how they work. Just the materials technology that goes into them, so they can withstand such high temperatures and multiple explosions, is utterly fascinating to me. Also, just saying, the fact that these weapons have been around since long before they ever put a human into space and they're still using the same basic arrangement of moving parts. That just flipped my tentacles, but good. How do I know that? Well, I asked, and Sergeant Harris very kindly took me and Pograk, because he seemed interested, to what he called a firing range. First, he disassembled his pistol. Then he explained how it all worked as he put it back together. Levers, pivots, and springs. Such simple devices for what they do. Then after he made sure we could damp our audio pickups and polarize our faceplates, he fired off a few demonstration rounds. The next bit's the coolest thing that's happened to me since I got to Earth. I mean, apart from meeting all my friends and learning to play chess. And soccer. That's pretty cool too. But still don't tell Mom. First, he showed me how to hold the pistol, and where I didn't want my tentacles to be when it fired. Then he made sure it was unloaded, and showed me how, and jerked at it while I was holding it, to make sure I could maintain my grip. And finally, he let me fire it. I didn't drop it, and I wasn't blinded or deafened. In all honesty, I didn't hit the target anywhere near the middle either, but I didn't all care. It was Yumazine dots. Bigger beddiness. I had done something none of our species has ever done before. I pulled the trigger on a weapon that uses fire as a propellant. Don't tell Mom about that either. Ever of you. Sergeant Harris offered Pograk a chance to fire it too, but he chose not to. I suppose he finds it boring next to heat guns. Oh well. His loss. Best day ever. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. A.G. Pograk, to equal above all, continued of course. This presupposes that I survive Thwicker's insanity, because this next tale is going to make your claws curl. Curl? Mine still feel a little weak. Classes had ceased for the day, and I was passing by Thwicker when she asked one of the human guards a question about his weapon. I was, of course, interested in the answer, so I stopped to listen. He did not immediately produce it to answer her, but instead invited her to go with him to a firing range. She saw me nearby and asked if I wanted to accompany them. So naturally, I agreed. Up until that point, I had researched much about human weapons. But there is a vast difference between research and actual experience, as we both know. At the firing range, the human guard disassembled his weapon with blinding speed. I was astonished at both his skill and the low technology that was revealed once it was in pieces. The reassembly process was educational, and I suspect I would be able to do it myself if shown a few more times. I thought that would be all of it, after we were cautioned to lower the sound and light inputs for our heat suits. And the human demonstrated that his weapon was indeed in working order, by attacking a paper target with it. I will say now that both the noise and the flare of actual chemically created flame from the muzzle of the weapon were daunting, even though I was fully aware it was a controlled demonstration. Just the potential chemical energy in one cartridge would be enough to dissolve my entire body into undifferentiated slush. As the safety vids have warned over and over, the attached metal pellet, the bullet, would not even have to strike. The human just by the way, was able to hit the target exactly where he wanted to, with apparent ease. I suspect him to be one of their elite soldiers, which only makes sense. I am a high-value asset, after all. But what happened then was entirely unexpected. The human unloaded the weapon and showed Thwicca how to hold it, then ensured that she had a firm grip, then reloaded it and allowed her to fire it herself. My progenitor, I watched a Fazaripi handle a human weapon and actually hit a target with it on her first try. Not only did she do well enough that she would rate as show's promise if she were a Tanarak warrior, but she actually chose to activate the firing mechanism when she had to shomno. There was a hugely exothermic reaction going on less than a claw length from her tentacle tip. Worst of all, she seemed to positively enjoy the experience. In my opinion, this merely reinforces my personal theory that she is clinically insane and has been placed on Earth for study and to keep her away from other Faziri. When the human offered the weapon for me to fire, I intelligently declined. I managed to pass it off as being bored with the whole thing, instead of rightly cautious. What thinking being sets off an explosion, more or less contained within their own hand anyway. Give me a nice safe heat gun any cycle of the sun. So yes, my progenitor, I offer you warning that humans are infinitely more dangerous than we had ever considered. Not only are they hell-worlders, easily manipulating materials and energies that we cannot, but they can also turn Fazaripi, and likely others as well, from mere pretend warriors into an actual threat. Of course, they would need to recruit equally insane soldiers for their force. Unfortunately, they seem adept at infecting others with their madness. In closing, Tetrika to Saduk continued anyway. That's all I've got to say right now. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Serena again. If you talk to Mom before I do, tell her how much I miss her and the others, and I can't wait to see them again. It'll be great to see Fazreep at the end of the year, and to be able to go outside without a heat suit. Though I'm pretty sure I'll miss Earth when I do go home again. It's really growing on me, especially the plants, get it? And all my friends are a bunch of fun too. All the hugs, your little wriggler. Thwicca. Bograt. To equal above all, continued in closing. I reaffirm that I am your dutiful offspring. Should I survive the ever-present dangers of merely existing here on Earth, I will return to my rightful place on Tanarak with all the information I have been able to glean from my time. It would be a relief not to have to rely on non-Tanarak for my very survival. Respectful salutations, Pograt. Okay, Bubbleverse 12.